Today we're going to be looking at area of circles. The formula for area of a circle, which we discussed yesterday with our activity, is pi r squared, r being the radius of the circle. Let's jump right into some example problems. Notice in the directions here it says find the exact area and find the approximate area. I'll change colors here. So I'll distinguish the difference between those two things, and they're going to ask you to do this in your homework as well. Number one, they give us a radius of 50 inches. So I'm just going to plug the 50 in where I see the r. So pi times 50 squared. And 50 squared is 2,500. And then I'm going to write the pi. So notice I flipped around the order there. It's just a notation thing. This is how we prefer to write it. Now this answer is actually considered an exact area answer. We didn't multiply the pi out because pi, depending on how many digits of pi you use, you might get slightly different answers. So that's why this is considered to be exact. Don't forget to label inches squared. So that's one of the answers. This is the exact answer. To find the approximate area is when you actually multiply it out. So we'll take 2,500 times 3.14, which gives you approximately 7,850 inches squared. So this is the approximate area. Moving on to number 2. This one, they give us a diameter of 12 centimeters. Now remember, a diameter in a circle is a chord that goes through the center. And with our formula for area of a circle, we actually need a radius. So think about if this whole thing is 12, we want the radius, which would just be half of that distance here. That's going to be 6. So we're going to use 6 centimeters as a radius for this problem. Area equals pi r squared. So I have pi times 6 squared. Again, I'm going to flip around the order after I evaluate this. 6 squared is 36. 36 pi centimeters squared. That would be your exact area. Now if you want to find the approximate area, you're going to take 36 times 3.14. And in doing that, you get about 113 centimeters squared for your approximate area. Let's look at some more examples. Number 3, again, they give us a diameter of 20 inches. We need to use a radius. So think about what that would mean. Well, if all the way across is 20, we need half of that. The radius is going to be 10 inches. Here's our formula, area equals pi r squared. So I'm going to do pi times radius, 10 squared. 10 squared is 100. And again, I'm going to write it as 100 pi. Inches squared, this would be your exact answer. If I want to find an approximate, I'm going to take 100 times 3.14. So my approximate area is 314 inches squared. Hopefully you're seeing the difference between those two answers. Number 4, the radius here is 11 miles. We'll just plug this right into our equation. Pi times 11 squared. 11 squared is 121. We're multiplying that by pi, and this would be miles squared for my exact answer. If I want an approximate answer, I'll do 121 times 3.14. And that gives me approximately 379.9 miles squared. When you're doing your homework, just make sure that you read the directions and what they're asking for rounding as far as how far you should go out with your decimal places. Moving on. Number 5, we're going to talk about a jaguar's territory. Depends on The size depends on how much food is available. So in a situation where there's plenty of food, the circular territory of a jaguar may be as small as 3 miles in diameter. Find the area of such a region to the nearest square mile. So here they give us a diameter, it's 3 miles. We'll run through our formula here. Area equals pi r squared. So we're thinking we need a radius. We have a diameter. The radius is going to have to be 1.5. We want to go to the nearest square mile. So they don't want an exact answer. They just want an approximate answer. So pi is 3.14. You'll multiply by 1.5 squared. And rounding to the ones place, you get about 7 miles squared. Moving on. Number 6. TV stations' weather radar can detect precipitation in a circular region having a diameter of 100 miles. Find the area of the region. Again, they give us a diameter here of 100. We'll run our formula. So I'll do pi times, I need a radius. Be thinking about what that means. Diameter is 100, radius has got to be 50. Do 50 squared. They didn't tell us how we should have our answer here. So let's just multiply it out and get an approximate. So I'll do 3.14. 50 squared, we've already seen this is 2,500. So if you multiply that out, you get approximately 7,850 miles squared for that area. Let's look at a problem like this. So in this problem we have 2 shapes going on. We've got a rectangle, which you can see I'm going to outline right here. So there's a rectangular shape. And we have half of a circle. So we're going to find each piece and then we're going to add them together. Starting with the rectangle, I'm going to do 25 times 45. This will give me 1,125 feet squared for the area of the rectangle. So all that's taken care of. Then let's go ahead and find the area of a circle, but remember we're only going to do half of it. So when we find our answer, we're going to divide it in half. Area of a circle, pi r squared. Well, let's use 3.14 to get an approximate here. Radius, this whole thing would actually be considered a diameter, so our radius is going to be 15, so 15 squared. This comes out to be approximately 706.5 feet squared. We are going to divide that in half, and we'll get 353.25 feet squared. So our last thing to do is go ahead and add these 2 numbers together. So I'm going to add these numbers. And when you add them together, the sum will give you 1,478.25 feet squared for your area of that shape. So again, the idea here was find the area of the rectangle, length times width, base times height, then find the area of the circle, but remember we're going to do half of it, so we'll divide by 2. Then we will add those 2 numbers together to get us our grand total. And that concludes your notes on 10.3, which is the area of a circle.